Deputy Jonathan O'Brien. Deputies, 5 minutes.
Controller. We've heard much about Roscommon and Sligo and Portlaoise, but I want to talk about my St Mary's Orthopaedic Hospital, which is in the heart of my own constituency in Cork North Central. And in saying that, I want to acknowledge the presence of the other 3 TDs from the area in the chamber, Deputies Dara Murphy, Billy Kelleher and Minister for State Kathleen Lynch. As many of the deputies will not be too familiar with the Orthopaedic Hospital, I just want to put on record a couple of points in relation to it. It's sited on the north side of the city. It has one of the lowest infection rates of any hospital in this state. It is located on 30 acres of land, over half of which is green open space which can be developed. And it has all the ancillary services which one would expect of a local hospital. But despite all of these positives that I've just outlined, someone somewhere within the HSC came up with the bright idea that we should transfer the orthopaedic services from the hospital. Now, as people can imagine, this proposal was met with bewilderment and outrage by the local community, and as a result, the proposal to transfer all orthopaedic services from the hospital was a very contentious election issue. And on the 4th of February of this year, the then Fine Gael candidate and now Fine Gael deputy, Dara Murphy, issued a press release in relation to the future of the Orthopaedic Hospital. And in the statement, Deputy Murphy said, and I quote, "Fine Gael will stop the transfer of orthopaedic services from St Mary's Hospital if we get into power next month. I have received a cast iron guarantee from the Fine Gael deputy leader and spokesperson on health, Dr James Riley, that the transfer will be stopped. This is a commitment we will absolutely deliver on. It is an absolute cast iron guarantee." Now, naturally enough, this statement raised a few eyebrows within the media in Cork, so they went looking for the Minister themselves to get your own views, Minister. And subsequent quotes attributed to you in response to the press release issued by Deputy Murphy were as follows. "I support the call by Dara Murphy in regard to the retention of orthopaedic services at St Mary's Hospital. The proposal to transfer services makes no sense for 4 reasons. Clinical outcomes will be better at St Mary's due to the low infection rate at the hospital. The move to the South Infirmary will reduce the number of available beds from 125 to 80, which is 36% reduction. The South Infirmary is on a cramped city centre site, while St Mary's has 30 acres of space on which to expand. And instead of downsizing St Mary's, child and family services, ambulance services and community health services should be there." End quote. Now, this statement begs the question, Minister, what has changed? Because when you found yourself in the position you now find yourself in as Minister for Health, instead of standing over what you had said pre-election, you decided to change your mind and hold a review on the future of orthopaedic services at St Mary's. And this was despite everything you had said only a few weeks previously about the proposal not making any sense whatsoever. Now, the review itself was conducted by officials from your department, and we now know that they reported back to you within the last fortnight. And the contents of the review, which haven't been published, so I can only guess as what was contained within the review, but whatever it was, it must have been damning, as you have now done a complete U-turn and actually agreed to the transfer of orthopaedic services. And as a result of this U-turn, Minister, I'm now calling on you to publish in full the results of the review, as well as all correspondence received by your department in relation to the Orthopaedic Hospital while this review was being undertaken.
The Deputy has 1 minute.
And this is important, Minister, not only because of the obvious U-turn which has been done, but because you stated in this House on the 28th of June, in response to a question submitted by Deputy Kelleher, that you consulted with local representatives as part of the review. Now, I'm not sure who these representatives were, but I can tell you who they were not. They were not the elected members for the area, nor were they representatives of the staff or the patients. So finally, Minister, can I remind you, just in case you think that this issue has been put to bed with the decision you announced last week, that the campaign to retain the services, the orthopaedic services at St Mary's Hospital continues, and it's far from finished. In fact, this Friday, campaigners will hold another rally at the hospital to try, and we will fight tooth and nail to force you and your government to stand by your pre-election commitments. That's all we want. We're not looking for the impossible. We're not asking you to fly a rocket to the moon or you know, rush a beachhead during wartime. We're just asking you to stand by what you said a few short weeks ago, and what you said does not make sense.
Margaret Yacht, and now call